In 1868, the 14th Amendment was added to the Bill of Rights. This meant that everyone born in the USA was a citizen.
In 1896, Plessy v. Ferguson was a case that went to the Supreme Court. The outcome of this case was that in public schools, segregation was approved as long as facilities were separate but equal. The problem with this was that facilities for black students were not equal and in very poor conditions.
In 1954, Brown v. Board was a case that was brought to the Supreme Court saying that the facilities were not equal. The court ruled that segregation needed to end. The problem was that the court did nothing to enforce desegregation.
In 1957, 9 African American students were admitted to Little Rock Central High School. The students tried entering the building but were turned away by the National Guard. Riots began outside of the school, and the 9 students had to have a military escort into the building.
In 1964, Title IX was put into place. It stated that public schools could not discriminate based on race or sex.
74% of African Americans and 80% of Latinos attend schools where less than 50% of the school's population is white, and it also shows that 38% of African Americans and 43% of Latinos go to schools where less than 10% are white. This shows that schools are not as mixed as we think.
Barbara Grutter was a white student who claimed she got rejected from a university because the percentile for white students was filled and her academics did not play a role. In 2003, Grutter v. Bollinger was a case fighting that colleges should not be allowed to use race when considering acceptance to schools. The Supreme Court ruled that it was unconstitutional.
African American students are more likely to attend schools where there are very little white students and poverty is high. White students are the most segregated groups in the nation's schools. Latino students are the most segregated minority groups in the U.S. The Asians are the most integrated groups in America.
This graph shows that white students make up a smaller part of the overall student body in minority schools. This next chart shows how different things have added to racial isolation over the past 17 years.
Overall, the population of white students in schools is beginning to not be the majority anymore.
In the future, we hope that racism is completely gone altogether. People think that just because it is quote-unquote equal, that it is okay to drop the issue altogether.
Teachers and administrators need to be able to look past the color of every child's skin. The students should be accepted for their academic ability.